Okay, so we're putting the belt on, and the belt actually sits on the inside of the tensioner. So if you can't slide it in between the engine and the tensioner, you're gonna have to loosen your tensioner up. So that means you want to get it to about a gap like this. You're gonna have to pull that nut that we had to pull to change the tensioner. So you can pull this up and back so you can get your socket in there to loosen that up. Once you get this in the back here, then you got it to where you start on the bottom on the harmonic balancer going towards the front. It wraps around the bottom of the air conditioning. You got an idler pulley right down in here. Yeah, right there where my finger is. Wraps around that, wraps around the alternator next, then comes up and finishes the trip around the power steering pump. So when I get ready to pop it up on the power steering pump, I'll bring you back and we'll wrap this up. And then we've got one final video we're going to do where we finish up the power steering pump install by filling it and bleeding it. So much more yet to come. Okay, I got our belt routed. Now you're going to take your tool. Notice I got the screwdriver holding it together so that it doesn't fall off my lower pulleys. I'm going to take your installer tool, which now fits the hole that we now have, thanks to the fact we changed the tensioner. And we will pull this way. So in order to do it correctly, we need to pull our tool back to about like that. Can you see that okay? You see where we got our tool position? Let me turn you a little bit so you can get a better view. All right, now we're going to pull this back, and I'm going to move the screwdriver out of the way and install the top belt, the belt right there on top of the power steering pump, providing that the belt doesn't decide to jump off on me. All right, we're going to need to put a little bit more leverage on this, so we're going to have to roll it back some more. Yeah, that's too much because I can't even turn it. Yeah, I guess where we had it's about the best we're going to get. Take your thumb, put tension on it. Before you pull this back, pull your screwdriver out. Make sure your belt's resting on the top of the pulley. Pull your screwdriver back, or pull your tensioner tool back. Push belt on. Simple as that. Now, if you want to go through the extra process of pulling that bracket off and pulling the dog bone off, you definitely can do that. It does make this job a whole lot easier when you don't have a bunch of stuff in the way. Because see, now this belt, it's on, all the pulleys are checked. Well, let me show you. Let me show you. Okay, so that's your belt routing. Comes up and around, goes down around the harmonic balancer, loops around that idler that you can see right down there where my finger's pointing to it, right down there. Loops around that like this, and then it comes back up and around, comes back up and around, and you're done. So, to get ready for our power steering video, I'm going to put this bracket back down that we took off when we did the idler, or the tensioner. And then I'm going to get the dog bone put back on. I'm going to get the cooling system put back together. I got to put that bolt back down there in the AC line. There's a push clip that I took out of the fender well, which sits right up in this hole right here. Goes right there. Okay, that makes it so you can pull that back so you can reach your hand up in there and get that belt on the idler part of it, because you really don't have much room up here to do it. Then I'll get the tire back on. Then the next video you're going to see, if you're following along in our DTS series, is bleeding of our power steering pump. Once we've got that done, we can give the car back to the customer and on to the next. So stay tuned. The next thing that you're going to see, if you're following along with us today, is we're going to bleed this pump.